I think so.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dumb Investing. I'm Lloyd.
I'm Harry.
Hit it.
And it's about to get a little dumb up in here.
I love it. All right. On tonight's show, we won't be rolling any random dice. We won't be picking any random stocks. We won't be doing deep dives on any of those stocks and buying them in the morning because we're broke. But what we are going to do, what we are going to do is we are going to do a portfolio review. We're going to figure out what did JPOW's words do to our portfolio, and then we're going to go in a little bit deeper on what did his words mean for the greater market. I guess
I think JPOW said we're done printing money. Done.
I don't think that's what he said.
No, they're done.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. So, for those of you just now joining us, 17 loyal subscribers, hey, welcome, thank you. London, if you're here, shout out to London. Anyways, for the rest of you, you've just stumbled upon the dumbest investing channel in all of YouTube's. We used to roll random dice, pick random stocks until we went broke. And that's kind of where we are. We're waiting for the portfolio to come back. We're going to sell some stocks. We're going to start rolling dice again. It's going to be awesome. We just kind of waiting for the day. So
yeah, we're going to talk about what happens with what JPOW says in the U.S. affects Canada and overseas in the UK specifically, right?
Sure.
But
first, in my personal life today, it was seesaw world. There were minutes where it was up real big, and I was all like, okay, cool, so the market doesn't care what JPOW's going to say. Then he starts talking, and it was like, boo, as red as it could be, and I'm like, that's it? I mean, at one point, I was down like 4%. I was like, oh, this is it. I told my wife. I told her, I said, if JPOW says the wrong thing, honey, it's ramen. That's just how it goes. And then it came back. I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know if the market was like, oh, well, I guess it wasn't that bad.
You're referring to ramen noodles, and that's all she can make for supper, right?
That's all, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
We're back to college days, man.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with
$15 a week in groceries. What can we
ramen noodles? Man, you can have a meal for 49 cents. How good is that?
I don't think it's good for the old picker's ticker.
There's a reason these names are chosen, isn't there?
All right, on to the board. Oh, man, that's a lot of red.
Dude, I got some surprises for you.
Okay.
One that has not hit the top or bottom recently at all, but it's big losses today. Lazy Boy.
Why? Oh, that is huge.
11.7%.
In one day, lost 11.
So,
earnings come out and they just
your boy here, suck. They came out with earnings. They hit on revenue. They hit on earnings.
Oh, that's not good enough. Punish them.
So the problem is that they came out and said that guidance. They're expecting lower profit going forward because of, you guessed it,
raw goods going up. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what's crushing the stock. Dude, I'm telling you, we might want to buy some more Lazy Boy tomorrow morning.
We have, $140 in cash in this account?
Oh, please hold, caller. Number 2, we've got BurgerFi over at the loss here at 3.37%. Our day traders dream or nightmare, depending on what side of the BurgerFi you want to play. Socket Mobile was down.
Oh, they're right there with them.
Less than that, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hailing. I mean, everything was down. But big winners today over at Centrus Energy, up 5.81% on the day.
On the day. And look at our blue bar is way down at the bottom.
Oh, you happened to notice that, did you?
I did, yeah.
Funny you should say that. Let's flip over to our
Oh, this sounds like you're gonna let me sell something.
On our positions over here, we've got Centrus Energy leading the way. We are up 16.85%.
Sell, Mortimer, sell. Okay. So anybody you talk to making 16% on your money is fabulous, and we did that in 4 months on that stock, I think that's a seller. Are you cool with that? Okay. All right. So Centris, what's our picker symbol on that?
LEU.
LEU equals a sell. Oh man. You have no idea what that does for me.
Lloyd Picker all hot and bothered over here.
All right, everybody. That means next week we're going to roll some dice. And we're going to make a good, well, are we going to roll dice? And if we don't like them, then we'll double up on Lazy Boy?
Dude, like if Lazy Boy.
Or do you want to just do Lazy Boy tomorrow?
No, we have to stay true to what we do. Let's roll the dice. Let's figure it out. If there's something that we have higher conviction in, and I think we should compare it against Lazy Boy. If Lazy Boy continues to stay down, if we have higher conviction in the dice that we roll, then we're choosing that. But if we don't, and Lazy Boy we have higher conviction in, then we'll do that. Depending on what Lazy Boy does tomorrow.
I love it.
Totally rebound tomorrow. But these input costs, I'm gonna say it. Everybody get your shots ready. They're transitory.
It's transitory. I knew that was coming. Where's my shot glass? Thanks, Powell. He only said it once. I went through that video twice, and he only said it once.
Yeah. He's starting to change his verb into temporary as opposed to transitory. So we'll talk about that in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So overall today, the cumulative P&L on the last 5 days, we're down $25. So 0.86%, not ideal, but I think we'll see after what JPOW said today, the market might recover a little bit tomorrow.
I think it's going to take them a couple of days for people to just figure. I think going into today, people didn't really have a plan. And I think now it allows them to say, okay, cool. What do we do? How do we make a plan? Because there's so much cash sitting on the sidelines right now. People just wanted a plan. And so I think give it a week. We're going to be back to it'll be good.
All right. So we're ready to talk about that?
Yes. Let's talk about what he said today.
Powell came out with a plan. He talked simple to us today, and it was refreshing. He said, yes, inflation is here, which is one of those key words that we talked about yesterday, saying, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear it. But the way that he explained it, he came out and said, yes, inflation's here. Yes, it ran hotter than what we were expecting. But in the case of inflation, let's take a look at the lumber charts. So we happen to know lumber charts relatively well in our 9 to 5.
Yes, we do.
So lumber, what did it do? Do you want to take away, Mr. Picker?
Well, lumber over the past, we'll go 18 months, has gone from a normal, we'll say a 10-year average, and in early 2020, it doubled, and it sat there for about 2 months, and then it had a small dip. And the whole world said, oh, this is wonderful. But then it said, oh, no. And it ran to almost quadruple. So the lumber that you and I consume in our normal lives went from an average, like in my area, of $425, and it ran up to
$1,607.
Is that my peak? 16 or something like that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, depending on species you're talking about, but if we talk futures rate, it's 1607.
Just crazy. And it was climbing at weekly rates more than we used to see yearly deltas. So we would say maybe $100 a year from our peak to our trough. Mm-hmm. And we were seeing it growing at $100 a week. And so it completely decimated people's ability to plan. They didn't know what to do. And it hit the peak and it sat there, and it sat for about a month. And everybody's like, is this the new normal? And everybody's like, I guess this is our new normal, right? I mean, that's
crazy. Why inflation fears were so prevalent.
Exactly, because we figured that's just what it is. And the minute we accepted it, it started coming down. And it's ramping down just like it ramped up right now.
Yeah,
so nobody knows what's going to happen. And it's insane. So
lumber at, let's see, October October of 2020 was about $800 a thousand,
Yeah.
or $800 if you want to watch futures charts. It went up to $1,607. What was that? 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, kind of thing.
Yeah. About 4 weeks ago.
Peak. Yep. So it doubled. But keep in mind that $800 was still double what the typical average was.
What the normal. Yeah.
The normal is. So now we're back down to about $950.
Yep.
So we're almost back to where October is, but we're still a lot higher than what normal is. So are we going to settle off on a higher new normal? Because that's we like to call new normals, right? So the industry probably believes it will generally flatten out a little bit higher, but what we're seeing is, in terms of the inflation curve, and what Jerome Powell was alluding to, is we're going to see these huge spikes in inflation, and what's going to happen is be very similar to lumber. It's going to come crashing back down. So they're not wanting to react too fast to that, because that's what they're expecting. They're expecting big peaks and to come crashing back down. So did he skirt the subject? I think this was one of his best speeches he's laid out, and he was true and he was direct and said, yeah, inflation ran hotter than what we were expecting, but we're not concerned. We still think it's temporary.
Well, and I think he finally said it in a way that people were waiting to hear some direction. Yeah. When he was just sticking his head in the sand and saying there is no inflation, and the rest of us are like, what? Dude, do you not go outside the house? How can you not see the inflation? We all felt it. And with him acknowledging that, yes, it's there, we're going to keep an eye on it, but we're not going to react. That's kind of awesome, because he's saying, hey, we're not going to knee jerk. We're not going to do something stupid. We're going to wait and see what happens. And if it warrants us getting involved, we will, but only when it warrants.
Yeah. And there are a couple of the questions were really good. They say, you base a lot of what the Fed does based on what you see in the future, what you're expecting. And you also base a lot of it on data of, so there's a lot of leading indicators, there's a lot of lagging indicators. And depending on how the Fed wants to react, they're going to lean more towards the lagging and sometimes lead more towards the leading indicators. So one of the questions led into the fact where saying you're choosing not to look at the leading indicators or the lagging indicators and only look at the leading indicators. But last time you said you wanted to look at the leading indicators, not the lagging indicators. So it was a really good question. But the reality
is that poor guy's going to have a horrible car
Like we know it, we can see it, right? We can feel it. We see the inflation and the effects in our day-to-days, and it's feeling for us that it's starting to hit a little bit of an equilibrium. Supply challenges are still a problem. Absolutely. There's big bottlenecks that we're dealing with, which is putting up costs of everything. Shipping containers are up 4 times what they were overseas, right? They used to cost $4,000 to ship a container overseas. Now it's $16,000. But these are all temporary bottlenecks that we're dealing with. And what JPOW said today, it's a lot easier to increase demand with a button or a switch that he can pull by, let's say, increasing the money supply, than it is to increase the supply side. So the supply side is the one that's lagging everything. So that's constraining the entire economy now. It's not necessarily demand. You can temper demand by putting more money in the economy or a little bit less with stimulus checks, etc. And if they stop doing that, then there might be a little bit of equilibrium there. And then the supply side will start to ramp up a little bit when they see that demand is real.
Well, the thing that I loved is when he said, capitalism will solve the supply side. I mean, that was great.
Did he say that or did I say that?
No, he did say that.
Oh, that sounds like something I said last night.
Yeah. Now,
but it's 100% true, right? Capitalism is deflationary by standard.
Yeah.
It's competition. It's efficiencies. And one thing that I wanted to bring up, because we were talking about restaurants yesterday a little bit.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Mr. Picker, in your neck of the woods.
Okay.
So Let's say McDonald's, they're having a hard time hiring staff, right?
Yeah.
Likely, right? Nobody wants to
Oh,
work
yeah.
for 13, 14, 15, 13 bucks an hour down there or whatever. What's minimum wage?
At a McDonald's right now, about $15.
Is minimum wage?
No, that's the minimum that you're going to get paid working at a McDonald's.
Okay.
Minimum wage legally is somewhere around 7.25. I think.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what McDonald's is going to do is they're going to invest in a whole bunch of technology. And I don't know if you have a whole bunch of them there or not, but in our neck of the woods, there's a whole lot of automated teller stuff that's getting installed. You walk up to the machine and they say, I want my Big Mac, I want my fries, I want my poutine.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
They have that at McDonald's?
Oh, yeah, buddy. It's Canada. There's poutine everywhere.
I would only assume so. For all of our American friends who've never vacationed in Canada, what he's talking about there, poutine is the easiest way to describe it is
don't make it look no.
I'm not. No. I'm going to describe it truthfully. Take the most delicious plate of French fries you can imagine, and then take Grandma's gravy at Thanksgiving and pour it all over the top of them French fries, and that's poutine.
No, you got to add cheese.
And then you add stuff. Yeah.
No, just cheese curds.
Okay, just cheese curds.
Squeaky kind of mozzarella style cheese.
So, as soon as that border opens up, guys, go up and grab some of your poutine up there.
Oh, are you ever? And you want to worry about Picker's Ticker, I tell you.
Yeah, that's just... But, it gets real cold up there, and you guys burn a lot of calories trying not to freeze to death. I could understand where you would need a plate that has 3,000 calories on it.
Yeah, we're good at drinking beer and eating poutine. There's a 100% chance of that.
Oh, that is awesome.
That's that right.
But, we've got chicken fried steak here, which is the same thing. You take an awesome piece of steak, you fry it up in the French fryer, and then you pour a gravy all over the top of that. That's just like to die for. Oh, yeah. That's delicious.
Wow. I needed to just say something real quick.
Okay.
For the first time ever, we have 4 live viewers. Thank you guys very much for tuning in.
Whoa! High five. Awesome. 1, 2, 3. All 4 of you guys. That is so cool.
Awesome. Leave us some comments, guys. We'd love to chat with you. We've got a... we're 17 minutes into the show. We've got 8 minutes to go. Let's know what we need to talk about.
We said we were going to make these 20-minute shows.
Yeah, I know. We need to talk about why this is important to Canada and why this is important overseas in Europe. Why JPOW Talk matters.
Hit it.
Oh, I thought you were just going to take that one.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
No, but I do want, before we talk about Canada, I want to say one thing. It was all over Bloomberg, and maybe I didn't pick this up, but Bloomberg is saying that Powell said there will be 2 rate increases by 2023.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he did. He did allude to that, which is good. But I think the markets they were prepared for that. They're prepared for worse, right? The market's expecting kind of worst case scenario.
I believe that. Cases. I think the market was afraid he was going to show up today and say, knee jerk, we're doing all this craziness. I think that's what the market was prepared for. So
he continued to double down. He said, we'll give you lots of time when we decide to talk about tapering. When we talk about tapering, we'll let you know, and we'll give you a heads up when we taper. So what we mean by tapering, that means that JPOW is going to stop the money printer from going at 120 billion miles per hour.
Remember, we talked about this last night,
reeling that back. Yeah, he's going to reel that back. So tapering means he's not going to cut it all off all at once. He's going to just slowly reel it back. So the burr machine, the money printer machine is just going to slow down. So they're going to start tapering that back. That's coming. We know that's coming. The last thing that we need in the market is to get surprised. Like, this is what we're expecting. We're expecting inflation. We're expecting interest rates to go up. They can't stay at or near zero forever. They have to go back up. So when the economy is at, what's his term that he uses? Full recovery or full recovery and full employment?
Yeah, and that's what they're using as a measurement, is they're really looking at the employment stuff. And because he in his mind, I think, was it 70 million jobs are still missing or something like that? Was it
Probably,
7 million? I can't remember the number. I should have wrote it down. I was too busy working.
Yeah, 7 million is
But
probably
maybe
close.
I think it might have been 7 million. But he said when we're back to full employment, that's going to be one of his trigger points. It says, "Oh, now we can start putting on the agenda. We need to maybe start talking about this thing."
Right.
So I think he used some better language today that gives the market more of that timeline that says, "Oh yeah, we've got 12 months here, we've got 18 months here," stuff like that.
And he was clear, right? One of his clearest, just this is how it is. I'm telling you guys, like, we're not hiding from it. It's happening. We see it, and we're good. We're happy with where it's going. So
yeah, there was some pouting right at first, but the market kind of came back.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So why does that matter for Canada and the U.S.? Well, the U.S. is the federal or the global reserve currency, so everything that the U.S. does impacts all of the rest of us. So Canada currency, depending on how all of that matters, basically, I would just basically say Canada's going to basically do whatever the U.S. does. So if the U.S. comes out and they say we're gonna taper, Canada's just going to taper because Canada doesn't have the economic experts that the U.S. does. I mean, let's be clear. Boy, let me tell you, like, no, I'm not going to tell you. The EU is going to be the same. They're going to follow suit, right? So whatever, everybody looks at the U.S. as kind of the global leader, right? It is what it is. So the U.S. has printed money for a long time. Everybody's printed money for a long time. When the U.S. starts talking about tapering or does start tapering, everybody else is going to start tapering. So we're kind of working on a global economy. Everybody's just kind of going to move in shadow or in step with what the U.S. is doing. I think that matters.
And not to wave our America flag, but we're kind of leading the recovery in the world, right? So we're out front right now, and so we're going to give that roadmap to everybody else. Hey, as you start doing this and you start doing this, follow our lead is basically.
A lot of that might have had to do with your previous regime, just saying, F it, go, do whatever you want. Vaccines, whatever, get out there, get sick, whatever. Just saying, you might be ahead just because you're more immune.
Correct. we dealt with it differently, right? I mean,
right.
There was a lot of fear and a lot of panic.
It was a very capitalist way.
Yes.
Dealing with things.
Yep.
Other regimes did it very well.
But it all depends on how you look at it, right? I mean, there are sides and there are extremes to every argument. There's a lot of small businesses that went out of business because of the decisions that were made that they had no control over.
Mm-hmm. And there's lots that are still in business because of it.
Could be.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends, right? Like, I mean, there's no perfect answer when it comes to a once in a century pandemic, right?
Well, and with no roadmap, we've never dealt with anything like that. What happened 100 years ago with the Spanish flu? It was a whole different. I mean, we weren't flying coast to coast in 3 hours. Right. I mean, it was crazy. So yeah. All right. Woo! What a day, man! It was a roller coaster of a day.
No doubt. The markets were really flat this morning. Started out, and then JPOW started, and he's like, brrr. He really sent him for a bit of a timber, and then all of a sudden they just shot right back up, except for Lazy Boy.
Well, I think Lazy Boy is going to be transitory. Don't you love it?
I do. I think it's a good buy.
Well, and I would bet inside of a Lazy Boy. I mean, I haven't looked inside of a sofa lately, but there's quite a lot of wood in there. So I could assume that they are struggling on raw materials. And we both know that we've hit that peak. And so it'll come back. Next quarter will be great. And everybody will be jump back on there because now houses are going to get cheaper. Okay,
2 quarters. Next quarter is still going to be tough.
Yeah, it probably will.
The flow through is going to be a little tough. Still, I think is good. Well, especially with a group like Lazy Boy, lots of wood, 100%. But they still got all of that foam that they got to put in there, or cotton, or whatever they claim that's in there. That probably is sourced from China.
Well, and the guys on Bloomberg were saying that there are delays in unloading ships, and that ships are now sitting. Once they get here, they're sitting like for 14 days. It's the highest wait time that they've ever had.
Used to be half a day.
Yeah. So now, you know, those poor lazy boy guys who were thinking they're getting fabric or something, you know, now they're waiting 2 weeks and the factory's got nothing to do.
And the same thing's happening on this side as well. So not only is the loading delayed, but the receiving's delayed as well. So it's a double whammy. But temporary or transitory.
Yep.
Supply.
So I'm assuming transitory is more negative than temporary?
Don't know. To me, they're kind of synonyms.
Yeah, but I think, you know, having JPOW's job and having to pick the words exactly, I think transitory was more vague and people looked at it as more negative than temporary. Temporary says, I know there's an end. Transitory meant
you're 100% correct. His words are chosen specifically, right?
Oh yeah, and could you imagine having to do that? And if you cough and make one mistake, I mean, there were analysts who were talking about his pauses and saying, "Hey, last time he spoke, he paused here. Now he's paused over here. There's a meaning to that." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? What if the guy was just winded because he took 2 more steps, you know, than last time?" I mean, it was crazy.
So I pulled it up here. So transitory means lasting only a short time or temporary. And temporary means not permanent, existing only for a period of time. Both adjectives, both relatively synonyms, but I think you're right. I think maybe they just changed the wording from transitory to temporary just to maybe they didn't want people playing the drinking game.
Maybe they didn't want a bunch of us.
One shot was enough.
Bunch of guys stumbling around at 3 trying to make a contract. Oh, okay.
Sign her up. All right.
Oh,
so
my
what do we got today? Are we doing a show tomorrow?
Why not?
Oh, I heard you were off on holidays tomorrow, so
I have the day off from the 9 to 5, but yeah,
okay,
we'll do it late like we do tonight.
Okay, perfect. That sounds great.
But I won't be around a computer, so I won't know much of what's going on with the markets. So you'll have to do more of a market update.
Well, you got to sell.
I will wake up and put an electronic sell on that sucker.
I will sell.
That'll be fun.
Perfect.
Man, having money in our account and being able to have some fun with it. So we will probably tomorrow night roll dice.
Yeah.
Because we're going to want to, if we don't find something that strikes us as better than Lazy Boy, we're going to want to probably react on Lazy Boy sooner than later.
Yeah. If it doesn't pop back up that 10% tomorrow, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always the Hailing Education Group, right?
I am not doubling down on that. No way. No, we've learned our lesson on that one.
Right?
I don't have enough conviction to double down on that one either. If anything, we double down on that FSD or whatever, the one that's paying us the dividends.
We sell all that? We sold it.
No, we doubled up on it.
Oh, yeah. We can't just keep dumping money into that.
I know, but that's how I roll, you know. But we'll roll the dice. We'll see what we find out, man.
Fantastic. I'm super excited. Can hardly wait for tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.
We don't want to do a quick real estate update? I still got the Bullfrog Sanctuary, but the fence guys showed up, man. So they're putting in the gate. They got all the posts concreted. So I'm hoping tomorrow the gate comes in. That means we can get the permit and hopefully get that pool done by 4th of July, man. I just want to be able to swim. It was 104 degrees today.
Oh, my goodness.
And we had humidity. So, yeah, it was not a fun day. Put an offer in on another rental, and the text you guys heard was my realtor telling me how bad I got beat. So, yeah.
It's not even fair. Like, you just quit for a little while.
It's not. And, dude, this one, it hasn't even hit the market yet. I got the notification around noon. At lunch is when I saw it, right? And that's the pre-market. It's coming. We went and looked at it after. Oh no, the camera. We went and looked at it after work. We did our walkthrough just to make sure, you know, what we wanted to put in the offer. Put the offer in, and she's already telling me that there were 5 others and 4 of them were cash, and they were
That's totally insane.
much higher than us.
Just remember, these housing prices, they're transitory.
Man, I hope, but I don't know, dude. I don't. The way our market is here, I think if it's transitory, it's going to be a while. I mean, our housing
transitory.
Is
you don't need to explain. You don't have to define how long.
I know
transitory is. Whether it's 1, 2, 10, 30 years. I mean, you don't have to define it. It's totally fine.
No.
Not too much happened over here for real estate. I think they came and did sanding, and I think hopefully final paint tomorrow. We'll see. Not entirely sure. We shall find out real soon.
Some advice to the world, to all 4 of our live viewers and our 17 other people that watch us. Remember when I had shown you the spreadsheet where I was talking about what do you do with your money? Do you let it sit in a savings account? Do you put it in stocks? And we talked about having a diverse holdings in case, something happens. Well, I had in case something happens over the weekend. We woke up Saturday morning and the wall of our guest bathroom was weeping where the shower is. And so we knew there was a leak somewhere, and you couldn't get back to it. It's all tiled and stuff like that. So we had to bring my contractor in to pull the tile off, and then bring a plumber in to get in and figure out that the whatever valve thing was leaking, and he had to put a new valve in, all that kind of stuff. So every now and then, shit happens. And I talked about, in stocks. So if you needed $2,000 real fast, you can easily sell some stocks and grab that money, or, if you've got a little bit in your savings account. If I had put it all in a rental and I didn't have any safety account, it would be real hard paying a plumber right now. So just FYI.
Right. Yeah. Liquidity is key. Always want to make sure that you have some free cash at your disposal at some point. But that doesn't mean sitting on a whole pile of cash.
No, because sitting on it won't do anything for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So what's cool is my guys are awesome. So I paid with a credit card, which gives me 20 days to figure out which stock I want to sell and move that money and pay off that credit card before my statement date, so I don't have to pay any interest on it.
Right. 100%. And ideally, your stock goes up a little bit over the next 20 days. You can sell it, liquidate, back into the bank account, and maybe you make, you might be able to save 10, 12% on your renovation or your whatever it, I guess, repair.
So it gives me some time. I don't have to knee jerk. I've got the next 10 days to figure out which stock I'm going to dump so that I can, shuffle my money around and take care of that thing and not have it affect anything else. Because, that kind of stuff's not in the budget. So
totally. That's fantastic. Yep. If you like what you guys saw, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell if you want to get a reminder next time that we go live. Follow us on Twitter at Dumb Investing and on Instagram, Dumb_Investing. We post stuff on Instagram that is not seen on this channel, on our YouTube channel. So,
and tell your friends,
check it out.
Ask us a bunch of questions. We'd sure love, we like to learn. And sometimes you guys are going to have a question that's going to make us go and do some research like I had to do last night. And so, we'd love to, if you guys have questions, we'll give it our best shot. We're not financial geniuses by any means, and this is for entertainment purposes only, and don't listen to what we do, and whatever you do, don't trade like that guy.
Don't trade like that guy. I tell all 4 of my friends all the time, and they're sick and tired of hearing about me. Most of them are my family members. So good night, everyone.
See ya.